Welcome back, everybody, to Star Series Season 2 Grand Finals with Frodan and Firebet. It's time to determine who's going out for 4th place and who's keeping the dream alive. We're playing double elimination. Normally, for most tournaments, we would actually be done with the event. It's like, we have our winner. Congrats.
Not yet.
Not such is the case. We have Shishui waiting in the Grand Finals for whatever European will challenge him. Now, I mean, Firebet did think that Shishui would go to the finals and win it. So Firebet's kind of...
if I get this right, that's like 3 tournaments in a row I was able to predict the winner from the beginning.
Yeah. It's pretty sick.
Yeah, it's sometimes lucky. If only I could predict it to be myself, you know?
You should start choosing yourself.
I should.
You don't really choose yourself very often.
I know. Well, it feels like too self-centered, but...
Yeah.
DrHippi versus Naiman. It's a repeat. Originally, Naiman was able to take it over DrHippi. I would say pretty convincingly the first time they played against each other. Do you think it's going to go the same way, or do you think there's going to be some changes?
I think that probably go the same way. These guys really understand each other. Plus, I want to see Naiman versus Sixo because they've been having an argument for about 4 hours now about Sixo's play 3 series back. So I'd like to see a little bit of that bad blood come to light because they're just calling each other retards like nonstop, and it's pretty funny. And it's funny because they're obviously not sincere about that word, but they're just more like, you're an idiot. No, you're an idiot. No, you're an idiot. And it's like I want to see who's actually the true idiot. That's slightly richer or slightly less rich because of it.
Yeah, that would be definitely an exciting series to watch. Of the players here, I think a lot of the crowd really wants to see Sixo versus Naiman just because they were kind of the favorites going into it and the ones that performed the best day 1 and day 2, and everyone coming day 3 was expecting them to continue that performance from the previous days, and they were unable to do so. And really, it's been Shishui that stepped up to the plate and showed them how it's done, but now they may have to duke it out against each other. But first off, Naiman has to get by Hippie again.
Yeah, and DrHippi, he's playing that Freemake lineup that we've seen several times by now. And, I'll see if he has a second chance. It would be interesting if there's, this weird dynamic where, they met one time before and Naiman won the first time, and then they meet again and DrHippi wins the second time. But, DrHippi ends up getting the final say.
Yeah, I doubt it. The thing that came down between Sixo versus Shishui, which made it kind of unique, was that they didn't really have full information about their decks beforehand, so the bans changed, whereas we see this series, the bans remain the same, and when the bans remain absolutely the same, the player's mindset's the same going into it as it was the first time, you can, generally speaking, expect the outcome to be quite similar, if not the same. And we lead off here, game 1, Naiman on the aggressive Shaman up against DrHippi's Freemake. DrHippi has been able to pull it off this matchup a few times in the qualifier and in the actual main event at the LAN here in his group yesterday. He was able to win this matchup, but overall, I'd say this matchup heavily favors the aggressive Shaman player.
The aggro Shaman player has been able to win, although maybe the Freemake player has been able to win, maybe to the aid of the Shaman player.
Sure, yeah.
I'm sure maybe the percentages actually do line up that way. Like 1 out of every 4 aggro Shaman players will let you win the match.
Yeah, sometimes the aggro Shaman screws up, and that's when you start winning. It seems like a reasonable statistic.
And it all goes in there, right?
Sure. Naiman doesn't have the best hand in the world, so the worst towards DrHippi, but at the same time, neither does DrHippi. He's missing all of his card draw. He's not hitting those Loot Hoarders, the Doomsayer, or the Novice Engineers, all those cards that he'd want to be having right now, and instead is just pinging, which never feels great on turn 2.
Yeah, at the same time, though, I guess there are worse turn 1 stars. There's Coin Totem Golem. There's a Tunnel Drop that gets beefed up very quickly. So not the worst case scenario. In fact, this is kind of like plan C for most aggro Shaman decks when you're kind of curving out. It's like, I'll have Sir Finley and I'll have like Argent Horse Rider. You much rather get these kind of cards later in the game.
Yeah, that's the strength of those cards, really, is that they're okay at any turn of the game. That's why they're so good, but you'd prefer the cards that are only good on turn 1 and 2 to be your turn 1 and 2 plays, obviously. And DrHippi picks up second Ice Lance, kind of doesn't have anything going on, so just draws with Arcane Intellect, trying to find something to do. His hand's quite incredibly weak here.
Oh, there we go. Well, we finally get the the batch of the early game plays. Tunnel Trog, better late than never, I guess.
Sure. And DrHippi still really doesn't have much going on. He's hoping to maybe find a top deck here to have a stronger play. And Novice Engineer not too bad. He's not facing down too much pressure. There's like 4 damage on the board, so there's no reason to freeze here. I wouldn't be too surprised to see him, drop Thalnos and drop Novice Engineer. Obviously Novice Engineer first, but just taking a double draw this turn. It may see him squeezing the ping. I know he's a player that really likes to get in those pings as Freeze Mage over draw. He likes to try and buy more turns rather than draw in the immediate. So I also wouldn't be surprised to see him ping and then play one of the cycle cards.
Yeah, the ping. Well, the ping doesn't really set up anything for
a while.
For a little bit, but I mean, long-term plan. If you can set up Frost Nova into Blizzard, maybe.
Yeah,
that would. That still doesn't even address the board completely. So a little bit unfortunate for DrHippi. I do like some kind of cycle because I feel like his hand still needs a little bit of improvement.
Yeah.
Okay. Novice Engineer.
He's going with the images this turn. Interesting. He's getting minimum value out of the images, which a little bit unfortunate for him. Like, both of the images are really only going to be eating up 2 damage. Maybe one eats 3, but not the crazy value you hope to get from the card. When it's stopping a 7/7 or something ridiculous, but gains him a little bit of life in the immediate anyway.
Yeah. Perhaps he's anticipating the Tunnel Trog getting buffed a lot, and was trying to anticipate it, but Naiman just, weaving in these life tabs. I think he really wants to get closer to finding some way to put that clock very firmly onto his opponent, find that Doom Hammer, find other ways to really make his hand just explode. Because right now he's just got good early game minion and stuff like that.
And we see him not overloading on this turn, just so he has 5 mana available for the following turn, so that if he does find Doomhammer, he can still equip it. He had the ability, to maybe to play the Totem Golem that turn, but he really wants Doomhammer to be open, as that's one of the most key cards in the matchup. Just getting that Doomhammer out is your road to success in the matchup, generally speaking.
Yeah, people even sometimes keep it, or always keep it. Depends on what kind of philosophy you have as the aggro shaman. DrHippi picks up Ice Block, something that's pretty crucial, but it's pretty much the only good thing going for him right now.
Yeah, looking at the board, he's facing down 6 damage on the board. With the Tunnel Trog, you can kind of expect that to probably get buffed by 2 more, so you think there's about 8 damage on the board. It may justify a freeze, especially with the Blizzard follow-up on the back end of it. You may just go Frost Nova Thalnos and hope that the Thalnos sticks around so that your Blizzard is doing 3 damage and you can clear the board on the following turn. So, yeah, I like that line of play, setting up for that nice Blizzard wipe on the board. And Naiman's going to be expecting this Blizzard, I imagine, after seeing that Thalnos come out and maybe react to it accordingly.
Yeah, in that case, either snipe the Thalnos to prevent that spell power, because Blizzard will almost certainly come down regardless of whether or not he's playing minions or not. Or if he chooses to do that, he can dig even deeper in his deck. I think he has to definitely be a little bit conscious of the fact that he might not have the opportunity to play every single card in his hand if he keeps life tapping too much.
Sure.
Cards like Element Destruction will never see play though. So
yeah, that's just a dead draw for the matchup. It's just not the matchup you want with that card in your deck. It's a tech card for other purposes for sure. So I think the play here is tap and use Argent Horse Rider to kill the Blood Mage Thalnos, just trying to dig a little bit deeper towards that Doomhammer, make the read that Blizzard is going to be coming out. But we do see him. It looks like he's just going to be super aggressive here. There's an argument for this play as well, as he does have the Lava Burst Dance, so he's got a bit of damage, and he's now using the Rock Biter to kill off the Thalnos. Okay. Just as long as the Thalnos dies, I like his line of play.
Yeah. It was interesting that he was so willing to even commit to that, where he's tossing in the Abusive Sergeant, and I guess his reasoning is that he just wants to get as much out of his hand. He's also valuing the Divine Shield, so the Argent Horse Rider doesn't die.
Yeah,
so splash damage.
Hippie really needs AoE into AoE here to clear the board. Otherwise, he's going to need to continue freezing. And with Frost Nova gone, 1 Blizzard gone, that leaves there's Blizzard, Flame Strike, and 2nd Frost Nova. So 3 freeze cards, or pseudo freeze cards in Hippie's deck remaining. That if he isn't able to find, then he's going to be taking a lot of damage from Naiman's board. And I don't think Naiman really wants to develop any more minions, though. He wants to save back the minions for potential reload if his board gets wiped.
So if he's not developing minions, then that means he can life tap.
Yeah. I'd like to see him, life tap, and if he doesn't find anything worth doing, just launch a Lava Burst at the face. It only overloads him for 2, which remains him with 5 mana unlocked the following turn, so he can still play Doomhammer if he does find it. And it gets it out of the way, because eventually you're Lava Bursting your opponent in the face.
Yeah, it's no minion will really draw that, except for those weird cases of Emperor Thaurissan.
Ooh, that might be a little bit better, though. Yeah. That's going to increase your odds of finding Doomhammer dramatically as you get 2 additional cards. And also only overloads you for 2, so you can still play the Doomhammer on the following turn.
Well, Golem still off the table then. Argent Squire, yeah, is actually more resilient. So
sure. Doesn't die to Flame Strike. Maybe gets you some chip damage in.
Yeah, every little damage point does matter. DrHippi picks a Frostbolt. How much damage does he have in his hand? I think he has 17.
17, yep. No board freezes.
No board freezes.
That's scary. This is the point where you kind of have to just kind of start burning them a lot and then hope you find that 1 additional burn spell to close out the game the following turn. It's
right.
Does he think, drawing is going to find him the 1 Frost Nova to freeze the board? Because he only has 1 left. If he finds a Frost Nova to freeze the board, that buys him time. But looking at the size of his deck, he's got like 15 cards remaining in his deck, 2 draws at trying to find 1 Frost Nova. That's not good odds. And then he's got the also consideration, does Barrier buy him an extra turn? Does 28 life, while leaving the board up, buy him an extra turn to potentially find that second burn spell more consistently?
There's 5, 10, 11 power on the board. If he plays Doomhammer, that's
it's only 4 damage from hand.
4 damage plus the 2 from the Tunnel Trucks.
Well, I think if you're playing Barrier, you have to ping the truck.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you Barrier and maybe ping the truck, or he's just going to do double secret. Okay.
Yeah, I thought he would actually consider playing Barrier and then just like fireballing or something.
Sure, yeah,
just start getting the burn out
of the way,
because you need to spend your mana somehow. Because if you put him down to 16, you have what is it? 11 in hand. You still might need to find like that torch, or you need to find that second fireball. You can.
Well, torch doesn't even do it. It's only 17 in his hand, right? So he needs exactly fireball number 2.
Oh, you're right.
So
he would be off by 1.
Yeah, unless he finds 2 separate burn spells like Frostbolt and Torch, or he's already played Thalnos, so that spell power out's kind of out of the way as well. Otherwise, that could act as kind of like a pseudo burn spell in these sort of scenarios. But now he has the damage, and that's gonna do it. He's gonna be able to win this game, and that's the 3rd time I've seen DrHippi beat Aggro Shaman with Freeze Mage throughout the course of this tournament.
There you go.
There you go. Everyone says that this
somewhere in the world, man,
is super unfavored, but somewhere in the world, laughing is laughing.
You stole the words right out of my mouth. Maybe I just need to get better puns. All right, DrHippi, prime position. Naiman knows exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
You can't really do anything about it, though.
Nothing.
No Kazan Mystic.
Eater of Secrets.
No Eater of Secrets. Yeah, and Shaman just stopped right in his tracks. Perhaps something always to consider, man.
Well, if you run the odds on it, though, DrHippi needs exactly Fireball, and he has 2 draws to get it, or he needs Ice Block, and then he has 3 draws to get the Fireball. The odds are still, super heavy in Naiman's favor. Yeah. Like, it's insanely heavy in Naiman's favor to win that game from that position that they were in. So a little bit of good fortune there for DrHippi, able to find that Fireball. It was his only real out, basically. So, but kudos to him playing towards the out and able to get it.
Is that the difference maker that puts DrHippi over the top for the series?
It might. He's got the Freeze Mage out of the way, so now DrHippi's only real weak link deck, I'd say, is the Hybrid Hunter deck. I think that could potentially struggle against some of Naiman's decks, but other than that, yeah, DrHippi's sitting pretty for sure. Up a game in the series, got probably his weakest deck for the whole series already out of the way.
Yeah, seems reasonable. I mean, Naiman, I wonder, he probably wanted this matchup to start things off. He's been noticing that Hippie's been starting Freeze Mage almost every series that he's played to try to get it out of the way, and he lost. So that kind of sucks.
It really sucks for Naiman.
Maybe he just goes back to the drawing board. I mean, what does Hippie usually go through here? I feel like he's also been ending the series on Druid very often, so it might be somewhere on that. So maybe if I were to take a guess, I'd peg it on one of those other decks, not Druid here, or obviously Mage.
Yeah, it's really hard to figure out what he's going to go, but the trend has been, as you say, he starts with Freemake because I feel like that's his most comfortable deck, and he likes starting with that. And then he ends with Druid, and that's his least comfortable deck by far. He's even said in his interview he doesn't feel comfortable with his Druid plays. He feels like that's his least experienced deck. So he's always been saving that deck for last. He's always been leading with Freemake. And of the players here at this tournament, I say he's the most predictable when it comes to Q orders.
Sure. So if it ends up going for the Shaman, I guess you can just queue up the Zoo. Oh, Hunter also queues up Zoo.
Not too bad of a matchup for the Zoo traditionally, but DrHippi has some techs in here that could swing things in his favor. We already see in his hand he's got the Knife Juggler Unleash combo, which traditionally has been extremely potent against Hunter. I mean, against Zoo.
Yep. Also against Hunter.
Yeah, he's got art. Yeah, also against Hunter.
Coincidentally enough. Shout out to DrHippi's deck building, by the way. All gold cards, not a single non-gold. Oh, I apologize. He does. The one Power the While. Oh man.
one non-gold card.
How does that not just trigger you?
Wow.
How does this not trigger you?
Like, buy packs to craft it, I guess. Yeah.
Look at this. One single Forbidden Ritual on turn 1.
I would do this on turn 1 every time. Yeah.
Oh man.
You need the board presence for sure. I think it's correct.
Dang.
So.
I mean, I don't really play Zeus, so I don't get this position very often. Usually Forbidden Ritual just feels like such a lack of value.
Well, if you don't play the Forbidden Ritual there and your opponent leads off with Fiery Bat, you're really kicking yourself because then all of your 2-drops you play die for free when you could have just prevented that by playing the Ritual for the 1 Ritual.
No.
So
fair point. Grimscale Oracle, the worst card in the game, I think. Injured Cavaldir, Reliquary Seeker. Oh, God. All these options are terrible.
I think you take the 2-1. Yeah. It's just the best stats option that you got presented to you. And who knows, maybe with the second Dark Peddler, you get the Voodoo Doctor and you get the sick combo. Could happen.
Yeah, I suppose so.
And
There's just no way.
As DrHippi here, I think he really wants to save that coin for Knife Juggler Unleash. So I like just saving coin, Knife Juggler, and Unleash. So that leads the only play being Flame Juggler.
I think either outcome was okay, too. If it hit the 2-2, you can bump the Divine Shield in.
Yeah, that's not too bad. The Crazed Alchemist is actually kind of a cute pickup here for Naiman. You can either go with, Knife Juggler 1-drop or Crazed Alchemist 1-drop to try and snipe off this 2-3.
Oh, that's not too bad. On the art score, yeah. Free trade as well. So some of these juggles end up being all right here.
Yeah, they're not like the best outcomes, but they're pretty good.
Sure.
For both players.
And it just kind of brings up that old tension of, like, how big does the board get for Unknife Juggler Unleash? So maybe even the Hunter's not the most worried. Obviously, you'd rather prefer not to be in that scenario. But
if DrHippi tries to leave the board alone and not interact with it too much, like not kill commanding one of these 2-1s or anything like that, and just hold, like, a ton of stake in the coin Knife Juggler Unleash, he could be kind of punished by a turn 4 Argus. So that's something that he's really afraid of if he's just, like, letting the board be, and we do see in Naiman's hand he does have the punish for that, so DrHippi is going to react very quickly, play around that Argus, and break up the combo here, just seize board control this way, and I like this play a lot. Yeah,
that was a very hard decision to make, considering you have Knife Juggler and the coin, you're like, oh yeah, I can wait one more turn.
Yeah.
So, pretty good call here from DrHippi. Naiman, of course, sees Unleash. Oh,
wow. That is insane.
Ah, he's smiling.
That is disgusting.
Look at Naiman shake his head. He's going to shake his head. Yeah. He hasn't seen it yet. No.
Did he just concede? I thought his hand touched
like
the keyboard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Oh, man.
Holy smokes. So DrHippi's Hunter techs able to nab him a win against the Zoo here, teching in, the double Unleash Hounds. A lot of players only play 1. Yep. The double Knife Juggler, a lot of players play 0, and it turns out to work out quite nicely for him. Now he's suddenly, his 2 weakest decks are out of the way, and he's up 2-0 against Naiman.
At least the weakest decks on paper.
On paper,
his most comfortable decks.
His most comfortable decks, apparently.
Are gone.
Yeah.
And, I mean, Shaman, he says he practices the least, and then Druid he's just not comfortable with. So.
Yeah, he plays a lot of Hunter with his buddy Nick Chipper. And that's who's the original author of this Hunter deck. So no surprise there that he's pretty comfortable with it and likes playing it earlier on in the series.
Yep, Nick Chipper is a regular in the top legends playing Face Hunter oftentimes.
Yeah, oftentimes.
Very surprising considering that Face Hunter hasn't been good for quite some time, but he's a dedicated guy. I think he actually did decent in the prelims.
Yeah, he did decent in the prelims.
With
and
Face Hunter.
He's been like consistently like in the top 10 legends ranks with like N'Zoth Hunter, Mid-range Hunter, Face Hunter, and Hybrid Hunter. So he's like just a true Hunter loyalist. I think he's like the only one left.
Oh, we have Rob Wing.
Rob Wing.
Jab.
Jab. Is Jab a Hunter loyalist anymore, though? I don't know. I'd have to ask.
He's taking more of a tempo mage.
Yeah, he's more of the tempo
cheating
mage
on
guy,
Rexar with Jaina, which I can't really blame him.
Jaina's
or
much
hot
more
hot mage. I'm not sure.
Yeah, sure.
Rexar got more cleavage though. Just want to put it out there.
All right, it's out there.
All right, so I guess he just goes Shaman and Naiman sticks on Zoo. That's kind of my prediction here.
I would imagine that to be pretty accurate as well. And DrHippi, from like being on paper unfavored, has suddenly become super favored in the series. As you know, he's up 2-0, and really whatever decks are left, if you're up 2-0, you're generally speaking a favorite.
Yep, really comfortable position for him to be from this spot, and with an opening hand with reasonable plays against Zoo. He's got Living Roots and Wild Growth.
Yeah, talk about a great Druid hand. Definitely spectacular. His Zoo hand is no slouch, though. He's got Naiman has really decent plays going forward. What do you think you lead off with here, the Voidwalker or the Possessed Villager?
Voidwalker is just better against Living Roots.
It's better against Living Roots, worst against Power of the Wild as a 3-2. So those are like the different cutoff points, but yeah, he works out for him here.
I guess at least if they use the Power of a Wild, or they use the coin as well. So they've
it's more expensive to react to the Voidwalker than it is to react to the Possessed Villager.
Yeah, you still end up with a 2-2 on board.
Sure. Now, as Hippie, do you think it's better to coin the Wild Growth pass or coin the Panther?
The Panther. Get the easy trade.
Yeah, I think so as well. As long as there's no Direwolf Alpha or abusive +1 drop, you're really happy about how this board position lines up. And he's going to be kind of sad to see the Direwolf Alpha, but then he has the roots to kill the Alpha after the fact, so it's not too bad, and you can develop the Raven Idol while doing so.
Yeah, so it's a really interesting exchange of goods here where like both players just made each other really uncomfortable, and in the end the Druid's out of coin, so I think the Zoo's a little bit happier about that because they can just take more initiative with whatever happens on the board.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes, though. Usually the Zoo is the one that gets the better of the early game exchanges, but usually they get the better of it by a lot bigger of a margin than this, right? So
yeah, cards like Possessed Villager and Abusive Sergeant, Direwolf Alpha, Power Overwhelming allow you to get amazing trades early on.
I wouldn't hate just Wild Growth here.
Yeah, Wild Growth, if you're willing to accept the damage of the Direwolf Alpha, means that you get that Wild Growth out of the way, and then you can still do the same thing next turn.
Yeah, I would prefer, honestly, Wild Growth to the Living Roots Raven Idol play. So DrHippi agrees, goes with the Wild Growth there. I like it. I think it sets up better for your following turns. And Direwolf Alpha isn't that threatening when there's no minions in the field for it to buff.
Yeah. Power Overwhelming. That is the card you're looking against from most Druids.
For sure.
Yeah, Direwolf Alpha is a 2-2, but when he has 2 minions next to him, he's seen as like a 4-2 minion, very, very powerful.
Very, very powerful indeed. Hippie doesn't pick up very much help here off the top, but he's got a decent removal play if he wants to take it with just Living Roots plus a Roar. You'll be able to kill both of the 2-2 minions for Naiman, leaving him with just a 1-1 Death Rattle, and then he has the ability to, develop Fandral the following turn with Raven Idol and get 2 cards.
Yep. Chooses Raven Idol now, perhaps looking for some way like Wrath or something early on.
There you go.
Get it. Nabs the Wrath, so there you go. Save the Savage Roar if you so desires. Maybe if he doesn't want to use Wrath, he could just Savage Roar now and kill a 2-2 anyway. Save Living Roots for the Fandral.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't hate it. The 2-2, I guess, isn't too impactful. The only minion on the board that's really something you want to kill is the Direwolf Alpha, so I definitely would not hate Roar and just kill the Direwolf Alpha, so you save more resources for Fandral and can try and get those extra 1-1s off while you're removing something the following turn.
The extra 1-1s with Swipe and Wrath in your hand does improve it a lot. Okay.
He's going to opt to be more aggressive with his clear, though, it looks like, and just take out both the minions. You really can't fault him for it. Oh, no, he's going to hold the root still. He's just going to save the
Savage Roar.
The Savage Roar, interesting. I would have liked using the Savage Roar there over the. It's more mana efficient for one, and if you're playing Savage Roar against Zoo and is dealing something, like, you've won the game already. You have board against Zoo, so I don't really like saving it there. I think you can afford to take 2 face damage.
I'm inclined to agree as well. Fandral Living Roots was what he was setting up for. Can also swipe and Living Roots if he feels Dark Shot Cosmos is too much of a threat. And this case, Naiman's probably okay. He's got Power Overwhelming and he's got Mortal Coil. This is finally starting to look like it's turning around here. You start off with a Mortal Coil to see what you draw.
Most definitely.
I don't think anything changes it too much.
Oh, that's a nice one to have, though. Now you get some juggles out of the...
it's amazing.
When you trade in the little villagers.
So you just play this. Hopefully it juggles the 1/1, so you can avoid trading in your possessed villager.
Yeah.
Dark Shard. Ooh,
got the juggle. Even if he didn't get the juggle, he could have went face and just hoped he got it on the second try as well.
That's true. It was a very YOLO play. Man, what do you do here if you're DrHippi, I guess?
Take that Thalnos that you've been hiding up your sleeve and slide it onto the table. And then play that swipe.
Oh, man. That'd be sick.
Yeah, I guess he has to take care of this councilman. He may even consider mulching and using Savage Roar here.
That seems actually better than just swipe and removing.
Yeah, because swipe remove, you have to take 5 damage.
Yeah, and the Savage Roar ends up being held for such a long time, but for almost no actual gain, it ended up being the same thing as Living Roots. Okay, well, a minion here. Pretty much anything would be okay.
Yeah, Zoo's really good at making any minion pretty solid.
What?
That minion, not the best in Zoo.
That minion makes no sense. Your minions already cost 1.
Yeah. Of the things you can get off Mulch, that has to be one of the most useless minions. Because if it was any other 9-drop, at least it could be like, you know, Ysera or
most uses
just a big clump of stats. Yeah.
Most uses 9-drop. Even Major Doma would be better.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just bigger.
Aviana's text could also just say your cards do exactly what they say.
Yeah.
Still.
It's just a 9
and it would mean the exact same thing.
Yeah, it's a good card to discard with your Soulfire, though, so there's always that.
Sure.
And he's thinking, Naiman's thinking about whether or not he wants to extend the Crazed Alchemist onto the board. He does know that DrHippi has 1 Ancient of War in his deck, and that's what the hesitation's all about here is, if that Ancient of War comes down, it's really convenient to turn, you know, a 5/10 into a 10/5 and be able to kill it super efficiently. But he doesn't put DrHippi on the Ancient of War, or he feels like he needs to have the 2/2 body on the board to be able to pressure down DrHippi enough throughout the course of the next few turns.
Swipe is pretty relevant now here from DrHippi. It's clearing everything except for a 1/1. That is as close as he has been to stabilizing outside of the first couple turns.
And he knows that the Mulch card is most likely something really big. He's hoping, you know, it's not a good 7-drop or something, so that maybe Naiman is going to continue to be unable to play it as the turns go forward. Or no, he's just YOLOing here looking for the Innervate. Unable to find it. He's going to be eating a lot of extra damage by taking this kind of route, I guess.
6 times. So he's 2 damage off.
Yeah, when you see a Zoo hold a card, the cards you can assume it being are Power Overwhelming, Soulfire, basically, or Leroy, right? So he knows, so DrHippi knows that he's got either a Power Overwhelming, a Soulfire, or a Leroy in his hand, and then the Mulch card.
Unfortunately, just a little bit off from being able to activate the Gormok, and as a result, doesn't exactly have lethal just yet.
50-50 on discarding the right card. Unfortunate for Naiman there. He still has the Aviana. You can see him picking it up, a little salty about still having that in his hand.
All right. I think that is that it?
It looks to be about it. It seems
I don't think the
pretty difficult.
Swipe redeems anything.
He can kill the Flame Imp.
Yeah,
he's
but
facing down 5 power on the board.
Coincidentally,
so
buffs
if
it.
Naiman plays any minion, then
which he can't right now.
Which honestly he can't. But if you draw a spell, it would have to be like Mortal Coil drawn, and he already played his 1 Mortal Coil. So.
Right. Okay.
Otherwise, all the spells kill him.
Makes sense. Finally, a win here for Naiman.
On
really
the board.
Important.
Yeah.
But man, if he dropped Zoo versus Druid, it's just not his day.
Yeah.
You know, we were talking about how yesterday he was just like so good, and today it's not really the case.
It's not lining up as clean as it was. Yesterday, he was really on point with all of his reads and all of the plans he was making just coming together and looking so beautiful. And today, it's not quite happening that way. He's not getting the draws he's wanted to really even get in situations where he can really outplay people. It's been kind of on the back foot in most of his games. We saw against, the Freemake, he was life-tapping the whole game, which got himself down to a life total where DrHippi was able to kill him. And he had to life-tap so much because he just wasn't finding Doomhammer.
It's true. I mean, it was one of those things where, like, he should be winning the Aggro Shaman versus Freemake, but he just wasn't able to take that win. So, going to game number 4, if DrHippi stays on the Druid, maybe Naiman capitalizes on that. Maybe he just queues up the Shaman again, says, screw it. I got this. I got this.
Yeah, Aggro Shaman's, typically speaking, a pretty good matchup against Druid. It's not a spectacular matchup for the Aggro Shaman, but it's not a bad matchup by any stretch of the means.
How many people do they need to watch the players? They have 2 Knights in armor. They have 2 admins as well.
You got to make sure they're not cheating.
Yeah.
It looks like Naiman queuing up the Tempo Mage was most likely expecting DrHippi to stay on the Druid, and this is the first time DrHippi lost with a deck and then did not re-queue it up the entire tournament.
You're right. Is this the pivot that he was looking for?
Yeah, the crazy moment where he breaks out the tech, changes up the strategy, catches Naiman on the back foot.
You're supposed to play Druid. Well, honestly, I think it
doesn't really matter.
It doesn't really have a big consequence.
He's already got his 2 weak decks out that he needed to find the right matchups with, so it's doing all right.
All right, Sir Finley picks up Life Tap.
Yeah, do you take Life Tap? The dagger is honestly the most tempo, and this is a pretty fairly tempo-oriented matchup, so there's some arguments for other hero powers, but yeah, DrHippi favors the Life Tap, and I don't fault him for that. I think it's a really solid hero power. Of the 2 you're looking for, it's usually Hunter and Life Tap that are the best.
Yep, with a special mention to Druid and Mage hero powers are pretty acceptable. Rogue is like, and then Paladin is really bad. And then Warrior and Priest are just like, you just want to end yourself.
Just want to end yourself.
I mean, Priest does have its merits sometimes if you want to heal your minions on the board.
Sometimes you can keep healing a 7/7 and take value trades with it all day,
Yeah, it's very true. Okay, DrHippi just going for the triple 1-drop threat.
That's a lot of power real fast, and seems like a good way to play Aggro Shaman.
Naiman doesn't... Oh, he does have the coin here, so he can play Cult Sorcerer, coin out a way to stop the pressure, set up for a turn 3.
Oh, man, if he goes Cult Sorcerer, coin Arcane Blast, he's going to lose that Cult Sorcerer to that Abusive Sergeant. I feel like the only line of play here is really ping the Abusive Sergeant, as bad as that feels.
It's not the end of the world, though.
Yeah, not the end of the world, but it's the beginning of the end of the world.
Wow. You're a dark cloud on a sunny day.
It's not even a sunny day.
Yeah, because of you.
Because it does. Because
you're the dark cloud.
I don't know. I think here as DrHippi, you just follow your curve and play Tuskar Totemic, but I don't hate playing Flame Tongue and just pushing for extra damage. Just usually against Tempo Mage and other early game scrappy matchups, I like getting some value trades out of my Flame Tongue totem buffs, so I kind of prefer the Tuskar Totemic over to the other line of play, but neither are like strictly wrong. One's more aggressive, one's more passive.
Yep, Tuskar Totemic makes Flame Tongue even better.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Just always get Mana Tide and
there
start drawing some cards, refill your hand.
Well, you had Life Tap anyways, but that is very convenient.
Yeah. When your 3-mana minion creates a 3-mana minion, that's a pretty good minion.
Yeah, I mean, just the fact that it draws a card itself is crazy, but the fact that it can continue to draw cards. Man, Tide Totem, oh man.
Yeah.
So crazy.
It's infuriating to play against.
Forgotten Torch to start removing the board if you want to still take it slow. Arcane Blast and anything else just still seems a little bit weak.
You can try and hope there's no overload cards and go with like Sorcerer's Apprentice, Coin, the Spell Power guy, and then Arcane Blast 3/2. Just get 2 minions out on the board that can kind of contest the board, and if there's no way, like Flame Tongue or Overload card, then the 3/2s can fight back pretty aggressively on the board.
You can also Torch. as well. Coin torch to kill off the 0-3.
Okay. Yeah, I like that as well.
Oh, 1-3. Okay.
Yeah, he's just hoping the 3-2 trades with the totem for free then.
Okay.
I'm just trying to remove as many minions as possible.
It's pretty optimistic. I like it. I like optimism.
It doesn't look like it's going to work out. I imagine the Flameswing totem comes down here, protects the Mana Tide totem, uses Finley to clean up the Sorcerer's Apprentice. That's a minion you kind of want to remove against Tempo Mage.
Do you want to play the Argent Squires or the Totem Golem behind it? Argent Squires make the Mana Tide pretty sick.
If you like going with the optimistic route, I think you go with the Argent Squires just because they're so good with the Flame Tongue Totem. But if you're not optimistic, I think you just go with the Totem Golem.
I like optimism.
He
is DrHippi after all.
Well, hippies are optimistic, I guess.
Yeah.
Doctors to some extent
Chasing
too.
the good vibes, bro. All right, man.
Rip optimism.
Still, well, for naming at least, DrHippi is very, very much hipping and jabbing.
Well, he's lost the Flameswing Totem. That's like his whole Rasta drum gone. So
nah, I mean, he
can't
still
even
has
be driving.
He's got Mana Tide totem. Like he's
all right. Yeah, he's got the other
pick up
the
everything
other totem.
else.
Okay.
Well, he
He's got another one.
Yeah, he's jabbing, dude.
He's jiving.
Good vibes.
Those are some great vibes for sure for DrHippi. Talk about a good
wow,
time.
is that a perfect 5-minute usage of everything? Oh man.
Yeah, that is a party on the field right there.
Yep.
And he's gonna reload just naturally. He doesn't have to worry about overextending too, because it's turn 5.
It's essentially a zoo deck.
Essentially, except your life taps are free.
Yeah, and pretty sure based off the way he's going that he's gonna get Doomhammer next turn. It's our perfect 6 mana.
Well, he's only got 5 mana. Because he's
because he's overloaded for 1. You're right. You're right. All right, Naiman doesn't really have much to do here. He's just gonna concede early again.
Yeah, he found the play.
Playground beating.
That is brutal, man. I mean, that Tuskar Totemic comes out. You're already out of a bad hand there as Naiman. And so you're like, all right, I need to figure out a way to win this game with my not-so-great hand. And he starts trying to piece together a way to do it. Then Tuskar Totemic comes out and just ruins your day. Gets a Mana Tide Totem for DrHippi, which he's able to just protect for the rest of the game, which draws him how many cards? 4?
3 cards.
3 cards, about to draw the 4th.
Right.
And yeah. Ugh. You can't really do much against that.
I mean, that's why a lot of players don't like Tuskar Totemic these days, just because it feels wildly very, the results vary a lot across the board.
Yeah. And sometimes it makes a 3-4 too, and that's no fun.
It is fun for one person.
Sure.
When you roll Tuskar Totemic and you get a totem going, are you not having fun?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I feel like I'm getting undeserved wins.
Because you are a dark rain on a sunny day, man. Or dark cloud on a sunny day.
I think I'm just honest. I like when I work hard, win a good game of Hearthstone. Both players felt like they played appropriately, and I outplayed my opponent.
Gotcha.
And I feel good about it.
So
when I play Tuskar Totemic and it rolls the right minion and I win because of it, I don't feel that rush of like actually beating somebody, which is what I play like video games for. It's the rush of beating somebody, right?
Okay.
That's
so
the
you
most
want
fun
to have
part.
bad luck, so that way when you beat them,
I can be like, ha! I had this such terrible luck, and still I was able to outplay you and figure out a strategy that worked. I think that's the cooler victories than just winning off Tuskar Totemic. I think that doesn't make anybody feel good. I don't think.
The greatest rushes that I receive is when my opponent gets the Totem Golem or Mana Tide or Flame Tongue off of Tuskar. Go ahead and thanks me or greets
they
me
start
as a friend.
emote BMing, yeah.
And I win. Oh, dude, I have to get up and clap like 5 times to get the energy. I'm like, I just start like pounding the desk.
That's the
humping
feeling.
The chair.
That's the best part.
Yeah.
That's why those cards exist, so that players can overcome them and
strong
feel that
emotions.
satisfaction. Yeah.
Feeling strong emotions.
Now I'm not feeling those strong emotions at the moment.
He is feeling strong emotions.
Strong emotions. Strong negative emotions, for sure.
Yeah.
He's hoping to maybe get his own Tuskar Totemic action going on this game. I can pull it back.
In Clash Royale, you can't actually mute emotes or squelch emotes. You just keep emoting every single time. Your opponent has to see it. Yeah, and you don't have a limit. You can just keep spamming it. It's like there's no like time limit. When you emote, you have to wait like 10 seconds between each one in Hearthstone. in Clash Royale, you can just keep every single time.
That must be frustrating.
And there's also emojis, so like you can do like a crying one, a laughing one, a thumbs up one. So you can imagine the BM meta there. And people have been requesting Supercell to change it for months, and they replied no because we want our player base to acknowledge that there's humans on the other side, and because we enjoy our player base feeling strong emotions. So there you go, Fire.
It's a different philosophy from Hearthstone.
No, they like their players to feel strong emotions too. Why do you think Yogg exists?
Well, I mean, but they want to like remove BM a little bit. They even changed one of the emotes from sorry to wow to try and limit BM, right?
That evolved the BM.
It did. It made it worse, probably.
No, they changed sorry because it wasn't being used.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they felt like...
Sorry got used against me all the time. People would just get good RNG and then sarcastically sorry me. Like, I can only assume it was sarcasm.
It was many reasons. One, sorry was being, like, really underused compared to everything else, according to their database. And then the second was that they already had WoW originally in the game, and they wanted to kind of, like, find a way to incorporate it. And then 3 was that it wasn't being used genuinely. So whenever it was being used. So they felt like it was a little bit toxic.
I thought they just, sorry was the most offensive emote, so they wanted to get rid of it.
Are you kidding me? Thank you is the most offensive emote, in my opinion.
I don't know. I don't emote.
I thank you. Every single time. They roll good on a Tuskar Totemic. They just have to say thank you.
That is pretty tilting.
It is.
That is.
It's like, why do you...
We hold back the Tuskar Totemic. I mean, not the
Totem
Golem here. Set up for the Ferals into Flame Tongue Totem. Interesting. It's a different line of play. You could have also went with Totem Golem that turn and then just tried to jam it face with the Flame Tongue Totem and then play Ferals behind it. So there's a lot of different avenues you could have taken that turn. And do you like that play?
What is he trying to set up for on turn 4 by doing that? Because
turn 4 he's just playing Flame Tongue behind the Ferals.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, but why? What is that really supposed to punish?
I don't know. He's getting kind of punished here as DrHippi is able to just play a 3-2 for free,
right.
Uncontested, whereas the Totem Golem would have kind of contested it a bit.
Right.
So
I thought he was playing an aggressive Shaman too.
Yeah, he's playing face Shaman.
Yeah.
Even more face than like the Zixo hybrid face Shaman.
Right.
He's playing the full face Shaman, but he does pick up some Flame Tongue Totem value, and the top deck of the Flame Wreath Phaseless here makes it seem genius.
Yep.
It works out so good. I like that. Able to get Flame Wreath Faceless down on 4 against Druid. That's the best time to get it down against Druid. They have a really hard time dealing with it.
Wait, what? But he could have still done that this turn if he just played, like if he played Totem Golem the previous turn.
Yeah, he didn't have it in. He was playing to play Feral Spirits this turn.
Right, yeah.
That was the game plan number 1. If Hippie on 2 plays Wild Growth, then Naiman follows up with Feral Spirits on 3 into Flame Tongue Totem on 4. He picks up the Flame Wreath Faceless. Hippie plays a 3-2, so now he changes his game plan to play Flame Tongue Totem to kill the Power of the Wild, so that now he's unoverloaded for the turn 4 Flame Wreath Faceless.
Right.
So now he's going into an empty board Flame Wreath Faceless, and it works out perfectly for him. So I like the adjustment of the game plan. I'm not so convinced the original game plan was optimal, but the adjustment of the game plan I think is fantastic. And you can see here, it's just
what you need to do.
Yeah, that's what you need to do in Hearthstone. You definitely want to adjust your game plan to whatever your opponent's doing, and Naiman does so quite nicely here.
I was given advice when I first started playing Hearthstone, where if you pick a line, you gotta stick with it. And it's like, well, are you sure?
Sometimes.
Yeah, it doesn't always.
That's a good general rule for when you first start learning the game, right?
Right.
And then as you get more into it, you can start being more flexible with your lines. But that's more for like general overall game plans. You should stick with the same game plan. Like if you're face Shaman, don't play the value game plan. Stick to the face game plan throughout the game.
So hit face here.
No, kill the value. That's not a shift in game plan though. That's just a must kill minion.
I know. I'm just trolling you, dude.
Yeah. Thanks for that.
Just trying to push your buttons a little bit. All right, well, DrHippie's not happy to see that. He can't really reach that 7-4.
So, Azure Drake, top deck, Innervate, Wrath to 7-4 for 4.
Oh, man. Is he that good at Hearthstone?
You could also Raven Idol for either Swipe or, second Wrath.
That's true. Raven Idol is something to consider as well. He can piece together another thing with Wrath.
Even
maybe second
Moonfire.
Wrath. Moonfire, Second Wrath.
There's a lot of spells that could allow him to clean up this Flame Wreath Faceless. So I like the Raven Idol play. I think it's the higher odds of the play.
Savagery is not enough. Raven Idol number 2.
Oh, yeah, it's not. It's 1 mana off being enough. Never Savagery. He does take the Savagery.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. He's got Feral Rage.
That's crazy.
The Feral Rage Savagery. That's just dirty. I didn't even see the Feral Rage in his hand.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that is definitely the pick there. That was a really good Raven Idol. Savagery, able to pull in a lot of work.
Sexy play, man.
Yeah, not the card you'd expect to be the difference maker, but that really has caught DrHippi all the way back up on the board currently.
Yeah, but the punishment is going to continue to pile in. He's still 1 turn away from playing the Ancient of War, which gives that 1 free turn for the Rockbiter Doomhammer.
Yeah, to push for 10.
Yeah.
There's already 8 on the field, too, so if he's not interacting with his 8 damage on the field, that's 18 damage coming into his dome in the following turn. So here comes Emperor Thorsan, and is this a turn where you ignore the Emperor Thorsan? I would say 100%.
Okay, well, you picked up Lava
Yeah,
Burst.
as soon as you picked up that Lava Burst, I'm like, we don't need to kill this Emperor anymore. Feral Rage has been used. That face looks delicious.
Well, you did put... Okay, so you're putting 18 damage. You're only putting him down to 7.
Yeah.
If Ancient of... you don't play around the 1 Ancient of War, I guess, right?
No,
So
I'm going face all the way every time here as Naiman.
It does line up pretty conveniently for the first charge of Doomhammer to kill the 5/5, though.
It does.
It does, and it also is relatively high priority to kill an Emperor.
Is it, though?
It is relatively high.
You're so close to killing him.
You are, and you're also close to killing him, too, even with this play.
I guess.
Look, I'm not saying...
I think that's definitely debatable between the two.
It's extremely debatable.
Yeah.
I think you definitely want to go face on average more often than not. But
it's really hard to say which is the statistically best optimal play there.
Whatever gives you the higher chance to win.
Yeah, it's really hard to say which of those 2 plays gives you the higher chance to win.
I am in the belief that you're probably going to try to end this game in 2 turns, and I don't think the second tick is nearly as important.
Yeah. That's why I like going face a little bit more.
Because even if he did play Ancient of War, he couldn't really squeeze in much else. Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree. As I've said already, I like going face there. But I still can resonate with killing the Emperor Thorsan. I think it's a reasonable line to take in that situation. It's not like something that's crazy unheard of, right?
Oh, he would have won!
Yeah.
Wait, does he win now anyways?
Well, he can push a lot of damage using the Elemental Destruction and set up lethal for the following turn, but it does overload him for 5.
And that leads up to a perfect 4-mana usage next turn.
Sure. Yeah, he could even make a totem.
You could... Oh, you're right. Maybe... Yeah, maybe you do that.
It's the only taunt in DrHippi's deck, so I would really like to see, the lethal setup.
If it hits for 5, you're in business. Ooh,
yeah.
Meh.
Yeah.
Maybe
you still have 8 damage in your hand, and if you hit a spell power totem, you're good to go.
Yep.
Oh, he's going to go with the Wolves to try and set up additional damage. This means he cannot Lava Burst anymore. So he's going for a little bit longer of a lethal setup down the line, which seems reasonable. I mean,
yeah, Druid doesn't have heal, right?
Yeah, Druid doesn't have heal. The Feral Rage is gone. He's seen 1 Raven Idol, so there's only the second Raven Idol to potentially pick up a heal ability for DrHippi. And his only taunt in the entire deck is gone. So you can ensure that this Doomhammer is going to be chipping away. So I don't mind it.
What does DrHippi do here? He has Wrath Swipe to help clear, but that doesn't really feel like very good because he does not put anything on the board. He has to find a way to win the game. Oh,
that might help.
Yeah, it's really helpful.
Yeah, now he's able to Wrath Swipe while developing an Azure Drake. Not too bad.
Pretty sick.
That's a lot of card draw.
Yeah.
He doesn't really have the time to squeeze in that card draw at the moment, so that's a little unfortunate for him. And it's going to be really hard for him to set up lethal for the following turn, as Naiman's going to be setting up lethal this turn.
No, that works out pretty conveniently.
Yeah, I'll just set DrHippi down to Lava Burst range and then kill him the following turn. He's almost got no outs to this happening.
Yeah, because he already used Innervate and he can't get Yogg.
He would need Raven Idol into Feral Rage or Healing Touch. And so he can still draw for it with Nourish. Goes with the 4-mana Nourish.
Yeah, just needs to pick up something to stop the damage. Fandral.
No.
Roots, Cenarius.
Oh, he does have Cenarius in his deck, so he does have another taunt besides the Ancient War. A lot of people are playing the Onyxia instead of the Cenarius. But DrHippi staying with the tried and true Cenarius tech, so if he had that a little bit earlier to pair with the Innervate, maybe he could have stuck it out.
Yeah, but this is not going to be enough, and just the Doomhammer charges and the Lightning Bolt's enough. Interesting, man, that this game ended up going a little bit longer. Actually, a lot longer, like 3 turns longer. If Naiman decided to go for a much more aggressive play. Either way, I think this is a matchup that if Naiman was probably expecting to win. I think the one's coming up, though. If he can get Zoo versus Druid, and then he can get the last one, which is Hunter.
No, DrHippi's got only this deck left, right?
No, I'm saying for Naiman, he has to win 2 more. He has to win 1 more with his. Oh, he has to play his Druid Mirror.
Yeah, he has to play the Druid Mirror. He's got his Yogg Druid remaining, and
Druid Mirrors are still super volatile, man.
They are very volatile.
Yeah.
A lot of the times it can come down to whoever gets the first 3/5 to stick, whether it be one of the Violet Teachers or the Fandral, and then the player that has like the Wrath on the back end of that or the Power of the Wild on the end of that walks away with the game. It's just crazy how fast it can go sometimes. But we saw a match earlier where both players innervated out a Violet Teacher and had no spells to go with it and just looked at each other with them.
It's true. But I mean, the match before that too was like there was Druid versus Druid, and like. It didn't like one person was able to innervate out something really powerfully, and the other person
just wasn't.
Yeah. Basically had fail rage and couldn't really do anything.
Yeah, that is Druid on Druid combat. A lot of it revolves around who has the innervate and who doesn't, because it's just a super big tempo matchup, and innervate is a lot of tempo, really fast.
Yeah, precisely, man. And then you have to fight back from that awkward position. I think if I'm naming here, I just queue up Zoo. I'm feeling Zoo.
Zoo is definitely better than the Druid Mirror for sure, and you want to maximize screen time so people know who you are.
Yeah, precisely. Just show that I've gotten here all the way. Even if 10 more people see it, then you got to get those 10 followers.
For sure. Every follower counts.
Be like, wow, yeah.
He's already won with Zoo,
I remember Naiman.
He would get banned if he queued up with Zoo, so he is probably going to queue up the Temple Mage. Yeah, I wasn't keeping track of it either.
Yeah.
I thought...
It's been a lot of games
today. It's been so many games today and yesterday and the day before.
Best of 7s.
Holy smokes.
Pretty crazy, dude.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, we do.
But I mean, props to the StarLadder guys for really trying to make more games.
Yeah.
I mean, well, a lot of times players always ask for more games so they can have the optimal results.
Yeah, for sure.
Can you argue that a person who gets to like the top 4 or even like the final just doesn't deserve to be there?
I mean, the sample size of 2 isn't the greatest sample size in the world. Even if they are best of 7s, 2 series. If you'd say, like, can you argue? You can. Are you going to be right? Maybe. It's just like, it's... you can argue anything, man. That's why lawyers exist.
All right.
Right?
All right. You're a frickin' cumulonimbus right now.
I don't know what that is.
It's the thundercloud.
The thunder. You're naming specific types of thunderclouds now?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Cumulonimbus is the biggest cloud for thunder. It crosses over three layers of the atmosphere.
Well, Naiman's about to make that sort of thundercloud as he is unable to deal with Fandral, and that's a surefire way to lose the game.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
You can see his face already starting to sink down. He's forming the thundercloud that I can't even pronounce that Frodan, for some reason, knows about.
Because I took 7th grade science.
And you remembered that?
Yeah.
Frodan's a pretty smart guy.
No. You just have to remember a couple of names.
That's just one of the things that sticks in your head.
Yeah.
Did you spend like hours trying to pronounce it for a presentation, and now it's just stuck there forever?
Just, there was this weird chant thing that our time.
All right, do the chant. Let's hear it.
No,
come on.
It's stupid.
Hey, come on.
It's just cumulonimbus give us thunder, and then they made us do a bunch of thunderclaps. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And then they made us go through all other the environmental ecosystem stuff.
You sounded like you had a very fun 7th grade.
No, yeah, I did. She also took us out and made us walk around the school building screaming stuff like that. So.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Hippie as the choice.
She's also a Catholic, so it was kind of weird. Maybe that's probably the whole point. Like, she wants everyone to participate, like, in mass, kind of the same thing, too.
All right.
It's probably like, what?
Violet Teacher and Fandral out on the field super early. Double Innervate Druid draw. Those are the kind of Druid draws that win tournaments.
I'm sensing an Innervate and Power of the Wild. Oh, wait, no,
there's the third Innervate.
Wait. What was the minion take? Oh, Forbidden Ancient. That was so fast.
Yeah, it was.
Didn't he have like Sunwalk or something as a choice?
He did have Sunwalk as a choice.
With
but
Innervate?
He didn't have anything that would align him. Well, he didn't get to see the Innervate first, but.
Yeah, but he should know.
He should know.
He has to be one with nature, Firebit.
I think you do take the third Innervate. You could take Force of Nature because you got Forbidden Ancient on turn 4, Force of Nature on turn 5. But Innervate Scenarios sounds good.
Innervate Scenarios, or you can also, depending on how you're reading your opponents, you can Innervate out of 6/6, 4/4, whatever. We'll see.
I guess if you see a Fireball come out here, you may want to Innervate out of 6/6. But
all right, what's the odds on this, Naiman? Tell me. 5 missiles. Well, pretty high. He's probably doing the math right now. It's like, I'm going to tell 6 of them. 67.2% chance.
Well, he's not feeling too risky.
Okay.
He wants to try and guarantee that the Fandral dies, so we see him go for the Arcane Missiles instead of the Mirror Images here. It leaves his Flamewaker a little bit vulnerable, but you can't really fault him for that. Fandral up is scary.
Yeah, it's way too strong. Even though right now, well, that would have been pretty bad if Fandral get left up. Summon 2/2 and gain that Mana Crystal. Nasty.
So DrHippi has the ability to, use that Mire Keeper to accelerate his mana closer to be getting to that Innervate Scenarios play. It's still, 2 turns away, so.
Yeah, I do like it. Getting that Mana Crystal.
Well, you have to ignore the Flamewaker then if you're going to use the Innervate.
Maybe just Innervate Hero Power then.
Do you ever Hero Power and play the Little Ancient?
You can play it next turn for a 5/5 or a 6/6.
Okay.
Depending on how you want to ramp.
Yeah. I like it as well. I think it's too greedy to wait for the Innervate Scenarios. I think that you got to clear the Flamewaker, and you want to be playing the Mire Keeper. You don't want to play Baby Trees.
Well, Forbidden Ancient's not a baby tree.
Well, I mean, if you played it as a 2/2 this turn with the Hero Power and hold on to the Innervate for Scenarios, it would be a Baby Tree.
All right, so you just evaluate cards purely based off of their stats.
Oh, yeah, if it's a 2/2, it's a little tree.
Have you seen, like, Voidwalker, dude? That guy never skips arm day. That guy could bench all the Hearthstone pros with one arm.
It's the scale, though, of the guy. Like, if he's a 1/3, you have to
imagine. You ever
imagine.
see the Voidwalker?
He's probably like a foot tall.
Are you serious? No way, dude.
If he's a 1/3, I imagine he's only like, 8 inches tall.
Have you seen, like, the Thrallmar Farseer, the 2/3 with Wind Fury? That guy's arm's the size of the card.
But then
his entire art is literally just his bicep.
How big is the guy in general, Because his bicep may be huge in comparison to his body.
Size doesn't matter, dude.
Well, you're saying size matters in the reference of his bicep. Why
I'm saying size of the height doesn't matter. It doesn't. Well, how strong was Majin Buu, dude? That guy was so strong as a small guy compared to the big fat puffy dude.
Big fat puffy dude.
Yeah, you remember?
No.
Oh my god, you need to brush up on your DBZ history.
Okay.
Well,
I don't know.
Minions just died.
Yeah, the DrHippi's been snowballing this game out of control.
Super hard to come back.
Yeah, you really don't beat the 2 Innervate starts, no matter what deck you're playing.
Did you say, mean 3 Innervate starts?
3 Innervate starts, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's just... Whew.
Well, if he gets Flame Strike... Oh, he's 1 mana away from it, never mind.
Yeah, Flame Strike's too slow. He's got 3 Innervates.
Do you play it as a 3/3?
Yeah, I think so. Seems
That's
good.
a baby tree.
What? You just said it's not a baby tree.
No, you said little tree. Baby could also imply very strong.
Oh, yeah, it's just a muscular, ripped baby now. That's what we're going with?
He's not
That's what we're going with. That's what we've... Just to troll me, you're now saying that babies can be super muscular and ripped.
Have you ever seen those, like, 6-year-olds that, like,
I've never seen a...
There's like a
6-year-old's not a baby.
Okay,
I thought we're talking like newborn babies coming out with 6-pack abs, just jacked,
but
ready to
there's
go.
like the 6-year-old Russian kid who like was like deadlifting
of course
and
he's
stuff.
Russian, yeah.
And he had like a 6-pack and he had like biceps. It was really scary.
Why was it scary?
Just because it's like he's stronger than me and he's like 1/4 my age.
Yeah, it's impressive.
It is impressive. Also, what's impressive is I think DrHippi is very close to booking himself to the top 3, taking down his teammate Naiman, who just looks really defeated.
Very close indeed, as he is launching the killing blow at the moment. A smile comes over his face. He's able to take revenge on Naiman after being knocked into, you know, knocked down by Naiman yesterday.
Yeah, getting revenge for the previous series, and Naiman goes home in 4th place. DrHippi moves on to the loser finals to determine if he's going to get a spot in the championship game.
That'd be interesting to see him make it all the way there with Freemake when he himself says it's probably not the best deck choice for the tournament.
What if he just wins with
Freemake?
Like acknowledging that he brought like a weaker lineup.
And maybe he's doing it on purpose. He's saying like, yeah, I don't even need the best lineup to win. I'm just a better player.
Handicapping himself.
Yeah, and just taking him down.
That's next level sandbagging strats. All right, coming up next, guys, we have a rematch from the first series of the day, 6-0 versus DrHippi. Another series where DrHippi feels like he is unfavored in. But Noxious, I think, is getting ready to prepare an interview with DrHippi.
Sure. Yeah, and not only does DrHippi feel unfavored in, it's he lost that matchup, earlier today even. Like a couple hours ago, him and Zixo played, and Zixo was able to beat him. So
yeah,
you can't be really too excited going into that matchup.
Well, that time, Zixo took a 31.5% chance to beat DrHippi.
That's true. DrHippi did have a little bit of unfavorable RNG in that match. So it
is what it is. I think DrHippi got momentum on his side, but maybe fatigue's a factor too. Like, he's played a lot of games. This will be a 3rd best of 7. If he wins that, he's to win another one. 4 best of 7s in one day is a lot. Yeah, it's just competitively you're playing a lot of games, and you're just at that point you're mentally drained.
Yeah, it definitely takes a lot out of you to play so many series. Think about so many lineups. Think about all the little things. Try not to give away signals and whatnot, and it can really drain on you. It makes it easier sometimes when you draw 3 innervates. That helps.
It does, as well as like things like the second unleash right off the top.
There you go.
Or winning Freemake versus Aggro Shaman.
He's been doing that. I think he's just figured out that matchup, honestly. He's been doing that. He's done that every time he's played Freemake versus Aggro Shaman.
Yeah. Well, he did lose one time.
He lost one time with it. Okay. I was eating lunch during that time, so. All right, here's the interview.
Sweet winning against, somebody you probably hoped to move forward with now. I want to ask you about not this series necessarily, but how confident you feel going forward with the opponents you've got to face.
I think it's a bit favorite for Zixo, but
Zixo's favorite?
A bit favorite, but I think I have a pretty good chance with him.
All right, so do you think your lineup against Naiman was better than his? Because you say that his lineup was better than yours in the match. Do you think you got a little bit of upsets in the matchups?
Yeah, I got a little bit lucky.
A little bit? Okay, how's that? Fandral?
Yeah, pretty good Fandral.
Yeah, the Fandral stack.
No.
He really had no chance at that point. Now, one thing I want to mention is kind of the whole idea of bringing Freemake to the event. I just wonder how that has been working out.
I think if you know how to play Freemake, if you know good how to play Freemake, then you can bring it easily.
Sure, so you just have to prepare against like a broader spectrum of players. So you still think Zixo's favored in the entire event at this point, or?
Yeah, I think he's favored, but
yeah,
me and Chinese guy have pretty good chance.
All right, well, guys, we'll be moving on to the next match very soon. DrHippi, thanks, and good luck with your future match. I'll be watching that very closely. Back to the casters.
It is the year of